Ah bah ça alors. Sans blague, tu peux pas faire attention? Tu vois pas qu'il y a le feu rouge? Il y a 25 ans que je fais de taxi, c'est quand même malheureux.
You're crazy,
Alors,
or
j'ai
what?
jamais-
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Flix Files. My name's Roger. So last Tuesday I posted a video where I talked about modern movies. I did a little mini rant and reviewed two 2025 films that I saw recently and how both of them kind of disappointed me in different ways. And it got me thinking about how I could count on the fingers of one hand how many films I watched in 2024 that I watched, enjoyed, and then actually bought on physical media. There weren't many. And when I looked back over, say, the last 15 years, there seems to be a drop in the amount of films that I'm actually buying. So whether that's indicative of the quality of films that's getting released or just my tastes are changing as I get older, I don't know. But on that video, a subscriber left me a comment that said, you should check out more world cinema and art house films. And it got me thinking, and I thought, yeah, I really should. And I thought, well, how many foreign language movies do I actually have in my collection? If I've got over 1,000 movies on physical media, how many of those are foreign language films? And I thought maybe I could gather them together and do a quick video on it. And I've got 7. I've only got 7. So I'm not a complete Philistine. I do have, albeit a very small number of films. But, you know, that's better than not having any. But it is something that I want to try and expand on as we go through 2025 and try and discover more classics of world cinema, shall we say. So if you have foreign language movies that you enjoy, that I don't mention in this video, then please do leave a comment and let me know, and I'll be sure to make a note of them and try and discover them as we get through the year. So yeah, I'm going to talk about these 7 that I have. And as always, I'll do some B-roll footage showing you the boxes as I quickly mention them. Now, one thing I will say is that 3 of these 7 movies are by the same person. And it's someone that directed and starred in their own features. And this person, I want to do a video of all of their own. I want to talk about this one person in a completely separate video. So if that's something that will be of interest to you when you find out who this is, then please subscribe and keep an eye out. And I guarantee that I will do that at some point before the end of this year. I have a big list of videos that I want to make. So I'm going to put that on that list, and I will definitely get round to it. So the first movie in my foreign language super mini collection is the film Amélie, starring Audrey Tautou. So this is a French movie directed by a chap called Jean-Pierre Jeunet, and he did a film called Delicatessen, was I think his real breakthrough movie, and that's a movie I've not seen. I've heard of it, but I've not seen it. And then he was given the gig of making Alien Resurrection in 1997, I think it was. And then just before or just after that, he did another movie called The City of Lost Children, which again, I'm sorry to say that I haven't seen. But Amélie, I saw when it was released in 2001. I think I didn't see it at the cinema, but I remember getting it from Blockbuster and renting it on DVD. And absolutely loved it. I thought it was, and still is, a very unique, quirky, just fun movie with such a unique voice to it that it was just a joy to discover. And Audrey Tautou in it is so gorgeous and so lovable. And I think I've only really seen her in one other movie, which I think was the Da Vinci Code with Tom Hanks. But it's a lovely film, and I may watch this again this week, because when I pulled it off the shelf, I realised that I've not spun this disc in many a year, and I really ought to, because it's a terrific movie. So that's my first one. The second one is one of my all-time favorite movies, which is Wolfgang Petersen's Das Boot. Now, Das Boot has quite a history in terms of its different versions. It was originally filmed as a sort of high-budget mini-series, I believe, and then it was re-edited to become a motion picture. And then Wolfgang Petersen went back and made sort of a director's extended cut, which is the one that I have on Blu-ray. And it's an absolutely amazing film. It was filmed in the true German language, but there is an option on the Blu-ray to watch it with the dubbed English track. And some of the actors actually did their own English dubbing for that track, but I would always go with the original German audio and with subtitles. And it's possibly one of the greatest war films ever made. I think that's no understatement. Anybody that's seen this will know of its genius and Wolfgang Petersen's direction. There's no wonder this put him on the map. And he then made a bit of a career in America doing Western movies. But it's a fantastic film and one that I'm really, really happy to have on Blu-ray. My only hope is that one day they will do a 4K of it. I've not heard anything, but it will be one of those. It's on my wish list of titles that they should redo as a 4K. My next one is another German movie. This is called Downfall, and I heard of this movie through a YouTube channel called Hitler Rants Parodies. And all that YouTube channel is it uses scenes from this movie and they change the subtitles to give the impression that the characters are saying different things. And the first video of theirs I ever watched was Hitler on an IT support desk, and it was one of the funniest things I'd seen in a long, long time.
Das ist unerhört. Unerhört. Der Russe steckt 12 Kilometer von Stuttgart. Und ich erfahre das sozusagen auf Nachfrage.
Mein Führer, vielleicht handelt es sich ja wirklich um Fernfeuer. Sie erwähnten eine Eisenbahnbrücke über die Oder.
Ach, Unsinn!
And after I'd watched a couple of dozen of their videos, I thought, well, what is this movie? Where are you getting these clips from? And I discovered it was a film called Downfall, which charts the last days of Hitler in the bunkers towards the end of World War II. And so I decided to pick up the Blu-ray. It was, again, I've often said that I don't tend to blind buy movies that much, but this one I did, and it was really cheap. I think I got it off Amazon on a sale for sort of $5.99. I think it was £6. And it's a really, really good film, and it's quite harrowing. There are certain scenes in this film that are very, very difficult to watch. Not because they're violent, but because of what's implied and some of the things that happen. But it's a very, very good film, and it's a kind of nice companion to my Das Boot Blu-ray. So I would really recommend it if you haven't seen that movie. The next one is a Japanese movie. And before I talk about this, I just want to say that there are a few other foreign language movies that I would like on physical media. The problem is I'm having difficulty sourcing them. I'm a big fan of the Asian director John Woo, and I saw two movies of his back in the early 90s, and both of them completely blew me away as action movies. They were incredible, and they are The Killer and Hard Boiled. And I can remember Empire, the movie magazine, they reviewed Hard Boiled. I think it came out in 1989. And they gave it the tagline of "It has more action than a dozen diehards." And I remember reading that thinking, yeah, right. And then when I actually got it and watched it on VHS, it just completely blew me away. It was chocker full of action. It was absolutely incredible. And I've only owned it on VHS. I've never owned it on DVD. And I've tried to get the Blu-ray, but it's one of those that's not easily available in this country. And if you can find someone that's selling it, it's usually for a ridiculous price. So I'm hoping that gets a proper UK physical media release because I will definitely buy it. And The Killer. The Killer is also fantastic. But this is a Japanese movie called Godzilla Minus One. And I've always been a big fan of Godzilla. I have the Roland Emmerich Godzilla on physical media. And I have the Godzilla-verse, should we say, movies that were released. Godzilla King of the Monsters is one of them. And this is kind of a back to basics movie. And I understand it was made on a very limited budget. And the director was an ex-visual effects guy. And they had a very small visual effects team. And this movie is incredible. And on 4K, it just looks amazing. And if you want to see Godzilla causing a lot of destruction and smashing up tall buildings, this film has it. And it has it in broad daylight, front and center. You can clearly see what's happening. There's no action at night time, and it's really difficult to see what's going on. It's there, very clear, and it's absolutely superb. And I understand that Steven Spielberg was a big fan of this movie, and he watched it 3 times to the point that he actually rang the director and congratulated him on what a terrific movie that he'd made. So, wow, how good that must have been for the guy to get a call from Steven Spielberg to say, I enjoyed your movie. And there is a sequel being made. Apparently he's working on the script for the sequel. So I'm really, really excited about that because this is such a terrific movie. And I was really happy that it got a 4K release in the UK because for a while there, I didn't think it was going to happen. It was released in some Asian countries quite a while ago. And I kept a close eye on it, and eventually it came out over here. So I pre-ordered it to make sure that I got a copy. So that leads me on to the last 3 films in this little mini collection. And these are all films by a Frenchman called Jacques Tati. And I have a strange history with this Jacques Tati and his movies, because one of my earliest film memories, way back in the 1970s, was seeing a movie on, and I'm guessing it would have been something like BBC Two on a Saturday morning. And I remember watching bits of this movie when I was 8, 9 years old. And it was a sequence with a woman that was trying to hold a little dinner party in her garden. And she had kind of an automated front gate that had a buzzer, and she had to press a button to open this gate. And then people would like totter in and walk along this little path that she had that wound through this little front garden. And that always stuck in my mind, that image and the sounds of that. And for years, for decades, I was trying to work out what that movie was, but I had so little information to go on that it was almost impossible. And then about 10 years ago, I saw a video of the late great David Lynch being interviewed. And he began to talk about how he was a big fan of a filmmaker called Jacques Tati and how he admired his comedy skills and his use of staging and setting up scenes. And I thought, wow, David Lynch is recommending a comedy. I've got to see what this is about. So I started to do some research and I found out who this Jacques Tati was. And while I was looking him up, I came across a series of clips from one of his movies called Mon Uncle. And there it was. There was the scene of this lady having a little garden party and inviting the neighbours and the work colleagues around. And it was such a eureka moment of, oh my God, I finally found what this movie was. So I just immediately went and ordered it offline and bought it. And it's a masterpiece of visual comedy. And I want to do a deep dive on Jacques Tati and this particular movie because it is just sublime and it's really, really funny. And having watched that, I wanted to see what other movies he did. And that led me onto a movie called Playtime. And this was kind of Jacques Tati's, a lot of people say this was his real monumental masterpiece. He filmed it in 70mm because he wanted to use the best quality film that was available. And he spent a lot of money on this movie because he built some very, very big sets for some of the set pieces. And it's just an incredible film. I can't explain without going into a deep dive, but it's kind of the influence of the modern world on France at the time this film was made, on contemporary France. And there are some sequences in this that are just mind-bogglingly complex but incredibly funny. And I'm thinking about a sequence involving a busy restaurant that lasts about 50 minutes of the movie, with guests coming in and being seated and the waiters are darting around these tables. And it's just the comedy that happens in these scenes. And it's like Aeroplane. It's like the Aeroplane movies. There's a lot of visual comedy. And to give you one little taster, that this restaurant has 2 big glass doors as an entrance, and one of the glass doors gets broken. So one of the waiters has to pretend that the glass door is still there, so he holds the door handle and pretends to open and close the door when people are coming in. And it sounds like a silly visual gag, but it's just absolutely brilliant when you watch it in the movie. And the movie is packed with things like that. It's just so brilliant. So yes, I want to do a deep dive about Jacques Tati. So if you're intrigued and you want to hear what I have to say about that, then please subscribe and I will definitely do that. And the third Jacques Tati movie that I have is called Traffic, which is my least favorite of the 3, should we say. It's still interesting, but compared to Mon Uncle and Playtime, it was not quite up to the heady heights of those 2. And I'm aware that there's another very famous Jacques Tati movie where I think it's called Monsieur Hublot Goes on Holiday or something like that, because that's the character that he plays in these movies. And as yet, I haven't seen it, and I've not got it on physical media. Again, I went to buy it, but it was a ridiculous price, so I held off. So it's on my to-get list, should we say. But there we are. That is my 7 foreign language movies. Just a tiny, tiny part of my big collection of films. But it's a start. So as I say, if there are other foreign movies that you have always enjoyed, please let me know. I was thinking, because I also have a small collection of films on digital media, and I was thinking what foreign language movies I have amongst those, and I think I've only got one, which is the Luc Besson movie Subway with Christopher Lambert that was made in 1985. I have that as a digital file, and it's on my to-get list, should we say, for physical media at some point. So, but I didn't count that in this video because I only wanted to do actual physical copies of films. So there we are. I hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you again to the subscriber that set this in motion. I will just put their name up at the bottom of the screen again, if I haven't already. And I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and there'll be another deep dive coming on Friday, so please keep an eye out for that. And I'll see you soon. So bye for now.